G'day there! Yesterday was our kids' school market and music show for the end of the year, and my son came home with this cute little ornament, and I thought, hey, Christmas is coming and it's probably about time we did some Christmas bakes. So today the two of us are actually going to bake a Aussie recipe that was one my grandma used to do when I was younger, and that's called Roo Balls. Roo Balls are known as a few different things around the place. Some people call them Weetbix balls. I've seen them called bliss balls, sherry balls. Some people make them with rum. There's lots of different recipes going around where people add lots of different ingredients. But today what I'm going to do is use the ingredients we see here to make the roux ball that my grandma used to make. And to start off, we're going to grab the recipe because I actually have her recipe up here in my little treasure trove of recipes, some which I got from her and some that I've built up over the years. And they're all in this wonderful little book here. And this one that dropped down here as well. Here's the recipe we're going to be using today for our roux balls. And I have already got out the ingredients that we're going to need. So we've got some Weetbix, we've got condensed milk, cocoa powder. We've also got a bunch of different types of nuts here, but in reality, you can just buy the pre-chopped mixed nuts and that works perfectly in this recipe. I'm all out of those today. So what I've done is just grabbed a whole bunch of different nuts that I have in the cupboard and I'm going to blend those up to turn them into a crushed nut, and that'll also work. I also have some shredded coconut and some sultanas. And of course, given these are a sherry ball, all importantly in the back here, we've got our semi-sweet sherry. And you can probably see it's a bit dusty, this one. We don't tend to drink the sherry, so this one tends to come out each year to make our roux balls. The method on this recipe is super simple. Essentially what we do is we just combine pretty much all of these ingredients into a bowl, all crushed up, and then it gets popped into the fridge for a little while, and then we turn it into balls and roll it in coconut. And it is so simple that it's a good one to do with the kids. So I have enlisted a bit of help today, and my eldest is going to help me combine all of the ingredients in this bowl as part of the first step. All right, buddy, for the first step, we need to grab 7 of those Weetbix, pop them in the bowl and crush them up. Alrighty, let's have a bit of a look at the texture there now. That looks fantastic. So essentially what you want to do is just crush down those Weetbix. And if you're in a different part of the world and you don't have Weetbix, just any wheat-based Bix type cereal will do the trick with this one here. And that looks perfect for the next step. Our next step is to pop in 2 tablespoons of our cocoa powder. So do you want to pop that in? Awesome. And one more. Perfect. And of course you can add a little bit more if you like it chocolatier, or a little bit less if you don't want so much chocolate. The next step is our chopped nuts. As I said, if you've already got pre-chopped nuts, you just want half a cup of those to go into that mix, but I don't have any today, so I'm just going to blend up in my blender a few of my walnuts, some almonds, also some cashews. If I had some peanuts, I'd definitely pop some peanuts in here as well. And once they're blended up, that half a cup of nuts will go in the mix too. With those nuts all crushed up, they can now go into our mix as well. Now you probably noticed there's probably slightly more than half a cup there, but that's one of the great things about this recipe. It's not all about exact measurements like a lot of baking is, and that's why it's such a good one to do with the kids. All right, buddy, do you want to start mixing all that up? There we go. Now that all that dry ingredient is nice and mixed up, we can grab our sultanas, and we want to pop in a cup of sultanas and pop that here into the mixture. Alrighty, you want to measure that out? I reckon we throw it all in. That's pretty close to a cup. Awesome. And do you want to pop it in the bowl? And you can also stir that one in.
Why do we have to mix the wet and dry ingredients separately?
Why? Well, because if we mix it all together, then everything won't evenly mix up. Whereas if you get all those dry ingredients together and all mixed evenly at the start, and then you put in the wet stuff, then everything will be nice and consistent. You'll get lots of chocolate throughout instead of bits that are really chocolatey and bits without. Alrighty, now that they're all mixed together, it's time for our next ingredient, and that is our condensed milk. Now, there's one thing as a kid I always used to love with baking, and that's getting the spoon and the container to be able to eat all those leftovers of the condensed milk. And I must admit, as an adult, I still like doing that too. So, would you like this one today?
Yeah.
Here you go. Time for the next wet ingredient, and that is our sherry. Now you might be thinking, hey, we're cooking with the kids here, why are we putting sherry in? But it really is just a very small amount that just gives it a little bit of flavour. It's really no different to using like a vanilla essence or something like that. You know, most essences have a alcohol base to them, and when you use a small amount, it's just for flavour. It's not to get you all boozy. So with this one, we're just going to pop in 2 tablespoons. Let's call that 2. At this point, you want to give it a really good stir together. You want to make sure that you've got a really consistent and even mix of the wet and the dry ingredients. Here's our mixture all mixed up, and you can see it's pretty wet and sticky. So if I was to try and form this into balls at the moment, that's not going to work. What I need to do is actually pop this in the fridge for a little bit, and that will help the mixture firm up, and that'll allow me to do the next step of rolling this into balls. Whilst that mixture's firming up in the fridge, I'm going to prepare some coconut, and that's because we roll the balls in shredded coconut. The brand that I have here has really big bits of coconut, and I need them to be quite a bit smaller than this so that they actually stick to the balls. So what I'm going to do is once again use my blender, and I'm going to blend some of this coconut up just to turn it into finer bits. You can, of course, get different brands of coconut that's shredded or even desiccated coconut, and that'll work a little bit better straight out of the pack if you buy one like that. That looks much better. So what we do now is just pop this coconut on this plate, ready to roll our balls. Ooh, busted, sneaking some coconut. In the short time we were preparing that coconut, this mixture has firmed up quite a bit in the fridge. You don't want it to get too firm because you actually do need it to be sticky so that the coconut will stick to the balls once you roll them in that coconut. But you do want it to firm up a little bit. As you saw when we first put it in that fridge, it was really kind of sticky and tacky at that point, and it wouldn't have formed a good ball. So what we're going to do now is take this mix and roll it into some balls. This is where it's really handy to have 2 of you working on this activity, because it means one of you can do the sticky work of forming the balls and the other one with cleaner hands can actually roll them around in the coconut. And today I get the sticky job. Here we go, last one. Yum. It's a bit of a tradition for us each year to have Christmas Eve with a whole bunch of baked sweets on this Christmas sweets platter. So it's pretty exciting to get to that stage of the year where we're loading it up with some of our yummy Christmas bakes. So there we have it, our Christmas Roo Balls. Hopefully you decide to give this a go and enjoy it as much as our family does. Merry Christmas and catch you later.